Your brain and your gut are so connected, and most people don't even realize this. But what's going on up here, such as stress, can be massively affecting what's happening down there in terms of gut symptoms. And it's time for us to open that up and figure it out. Today, I'll connect all the dots and show you how stress starts in your brain, travels through the nervous system, and ends up disrupting the gut. This stress-gut connection is something I've seen in thousands of patients. That's why during times of stress, you might feel bloating, waves of cramps, diarrhea with urgency, clamming up with constipation, or upper GI symptoms like nausea, indigestion, and reflux. These aren't random. They are real-life manifestations of the brain-gut axis. If you're new here, I'm Dr. Bulsiewicz. I'm a gastroenterologist and gut health expert. Today, I'll give you 5 practical ways to protect your gut during stressful periods. By the end, you'll be able to recognize what's happening in your body, understand why it's happening, and you'll have a clear plan to calm both your gut and your nervous system. Let's get into it. Okay, taking it from the top, stress is not an emotion. It's a physiological state. Specifically, stress is what happens when your brain detects a threat or some overwhelming demand, and it activates the sympathetic nervous system to help you respond. This is the fight or flight response. And importantly, this happens before conscious thought. You don't decide to be stressed. Your body decides for you. This is why something like a near-miss car accident can trigger a full body reaction before your brain has even had time to process it. This is how you start to feel immediately. Your heart is racing and pounding. Your breathing becomes rapid and shallow. Your blood pressure rises. Your focus narrows into hypervigilance. You start sweating and your muscles are tense. They maybe even are shaking because you're so ready to go. Your body has shifted into a high-power, survival-ready state that is optimized for action, but it is not set up for digestion or for rest. Here's what's happening on the inside. Your brain detects a threat. The hypothalamus, which is a key control center in the brain, releases a hormone called corticotropin-releasing hormone, or CRH. CRH sets off a downstream cascade of events that does 2 things at the exact same time. First, it activates the sympathetic nervous system, which triggers the release of adrenaline. Second, it activates the HPA axis, which leads to the release of cortisol, your stress hormone. Together, these hormones prepare you for immediate action. But there's a major trade-off. When the sympathetic nervous system is switched on, digestion, immune tolerance, and even bodily recovery are compromised and deprioritized because in that moment, your brain has decided that survival takes priority. And this is where the gut comes into the story. Let's zoom in on what's happening there. These stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline, they don't just change how you feel, they actually massively change how your gut works. They alter gut motility. They shift digestive secretions like mucus and enzymes, and they even change the oxygen levels inside the intestines. Those changes alone are enough to explain many gut symptoms. Let's think about this. Diarrhea and constipation, those are problems of motility. Nausea and reflux, that's disrupted coordination, disrupted secretion. And bloating, indigestion, abdominal discomfort, those are signs that gut function is out of rhythm. And that's just the surface. On a microscopic level, there's actually so much more that's happening at the exact same time. This stress hormone, CRH, which was released by your brain, has massive effects on your gut because there are receptors for CRH in the cells that line the gut barrier. There's receptors for CRH on your immune cells, where 70% of your immune system lives in your gut. And there are receptors for CRH even on the nerve tips that are lining your intestines, feeling and sensing. So when stress activates CRH signaling, there's a number of things that start happening down inside the intestines. Your tight junctions, unfortunately, they start to loosen, which creates leaky gut. Mast cells, which are immune cells, they get activated. They start to release histamine. Other immune cells, they start ramping up, which is contributing to inflammation. And pain sensitivity in your gut actually starts to increase. The end result of all of this is increased gut permeability, inflammation, and pain, even without changing your diet. And all of these changes create a ripple effect throughout the body. Altered motility, shifts in oxygen levels, barrier disruption, they're all reshaping the gut environment, where now the microbiome is favoring the opportunistic, pathogenic microbes, and unfortunately, suppressing the beneficial fiber fermenting bacteria. So in humans, chronic stress is associated with lower gut diversity, and experimental models confirm that stress can directly shape the microbiome. If you read my book, Plant Powered Plus, then you already understand how the gut and the immune system are intricately intertwined. When the microbiome weakens, the gut barrier starts to break down, and then byproducts like lipopolysaccharide can sneak into the circulation, which activates the immune system and drives inflammation. What's unique here is the starting point, because what we're discussing in this case is that the problem actually doesn't start with food. It starts with the brain's stress response. And this helps to explain why stress can make so many health conditions worse. Irritable bowel syndrome, where you get more pain, more disruption of your bowels. Inflammatory bowel disease, where the flare gets worse. Reflux, where you're feeling it in your chest and in your throat. Food sensitivities, where you're trying to enjoy your food, but your body is just not feeling it. And even fatigue and brain fog. Now, to be clear, stress doesn't cause all gut disease, but it absolutely is contributing to those symptoms, and it is making you more at risk for the development of health conditions. So think about this. This is actually creating a vicious cycle where a perceived threat activates the brain, which disrupts the gut, which triggers inflammation, and then we feel the consequences. But there is a lot of hope here. Here's the hopeful part. There are ways to signal safety to the brain, to quiet the stress response, and to allow the gut to return to rest and digest mode. And this happens when we activate the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the branch of the nervous system that signals safety, that supports digestion, and that allows the gut to repair and heal. And when the parasympathetic is activated, it means that the sympathetic is not. And that's ultimately what we need more of. So let me show you 5 evidence-based tools that you can use to step out of sympathetic overdrive and to restore balance by activating the parasympathetic nervous system. Number 1, prioritize regular meal timings. Circadian rhythm is strongly linked to your gut health. Stress, as we've learned, disrupts your gut motility, but your regular eating amplifies that disruption. So if you lock in times and you separate them by about 4 hours, that consistent meal timing will support the migrating motor complexes. It will stabilize gut-brain signaling, and it will reduce the stress-related symptoms that you've been experiencing. Predictable meal timings allows your body to know what you're trying to do and when you're trying to do it. Number 2, take a gratitude walk. One of the simplest and most effective ways to calm your nervous system is actually just to get outside and move your body. Walking outside helps to lower our stress hormones. It allows you to move and expose yourself to nature and to sunlight and shift yourself out of this fight and flight mode. But there's a way that we've discovered that can make this even more powerful. Researchers have studied something that we're calling a gratitude walk. That means taking a slow, intentional walk where you are focused on noticing and appreciating the bigger picture around you. In a human study that was published in 2022, people who took these gratitude walks on a regular basis, they experienced less stress. They also had more positive emotions, like feeling calm, and it helped them to stop any sort of self-loathing. This is exactly what we want from a gut perspective, because it shifts the nervous system towards the parasympathetic rest and digest state, which is exactly where we need to be to normalize our gut motility and to get back to repairing the gut barrier, calming the immune system. So here's how to do this. It's not very complicated. You just walk outside, but you put your phone away and you let your attention widen instead of narrowing. So think about the world around you. Look for something that you don't usually notice. And if you do this for literally just 10 or 15 minutes on a regular basis, this can help you to reset your stress response. You will feel it. Number 3, sleep needs to be your priority recovery time. Human studies show that poor sleep worsens gut barrier function, contributes to inflammation, and actually makes your stress response worse. That is the opposite of what we want. So if stress levels are high, you want to lock in on the core sleep fundamentals to enhance your ability to get back to rest and recovery. What does that look like? Consistent bedtime, morning light exposure, and reducing late night stimulation. Because sleep is one of the most powerful gut protective tools that we have, you need to make this a priority. Number 4, activate the parasympathetic nervous system with your breath. The gut heals when we're in rest and digest mode, but not when we're in fight or flight mode. Activation of the vagus nerve has been shown to reduce gut inflammation and improve gut barrier integrity. When the vagus nerve gets more active, sympathetic drive decreases. In digestion and barrier repair and immune tolerance, they're allowed to get back to where they're needed. One of the fastest ways to activate the vagus nerve and shift your body out of the stress mode is through slow, controlled breathing, known as diaphragmatic breathing. Here's a simple breathing pattern that you can use anywhere. Simply inhale for 4 seconds. And then after that, you're going to exhale through your lips for 6 seconds, making sure to contract your diaphragm. Do this for 3 to 5 minutes at a time. This type of breathing has been shown to lower our heart rate, reduce our blood pressure, lower cortisol and stress hormone levels, and decrease gut-directed stress signaling. By simply taking control of our breathing, it allows us to send a wave of safety throughout the body using the vagus nerve. And number 5, don't fall into the gut stress trap. When stress is high, the last thing that you need is more alcohol, more ultra-processed foods, and more sugar. But there's an issue. These things, they're even more attractive than usual. Your brain is telling you that your body needs alcohol in order to relax. Your brain is saying that UPFs, they're comforting, and that your low energy, it actually warrants a burst of sugar to get your energy back. And unfortunately, it's a trap. Don't fall for it. What you want right now is to support your gut ecosystem with what it really needs to protect the gut microbes, repair the gut barrier, and suppress inflammation. And that's what you're going to get from fiber. This starts with fiber from your diet that you're getting from a number of plant-based foods. But it also includes the consistency and added safety that you get from a high-quality prebiotic supplement like 38 Terra Daily Microbiome Nutrition. The bottom line is that what you put into your body matters a lot during times of stress. So we want you opting for the premium fuel that builds you up and makes you stronger. And I don't want you to fall into the trap with the junk fuel that seems like a good idea and is actually going to hurt you even more. Now, if everything that we've been discussing is resonating with you and you're realizing how deeply stress, the nervous system, the gut, and inflammation are all connected, this is exactly the framework I lay out in my book, Plant Powered Plus. The book shows you how to support the gut immune brain connection through food, daily habits, and nervous system regulation. And this is especially helpful when you're facing these stressful seasons of life. So in closing, stress doesn't mean that you've failed. It means that your nervous system needs some extra support. And when you understand what stress is doing to your gut, disrupting motility, the microbiome, the gut barrier, creating inflammation, you realize that your choices during those stressful moments, they matter more than ever. Everything that we've covered today is a part of that approach. And when you put these pieces together, you give your gut and your whole body a much better chance to heal. If you learned something from this video, which I hope that you did, you probably have someone in your life who would benefit from it. Pass it along and give it a like so that others can find this too. And for more trustworthy gut health content, I want you to subscribe to my channel so that we can continue to have this conversation. I'm Dr. B, and I'll see you on the next one.